Okay, it's Monday. It's going to be 31 today. It's probably in the high 20s. It's just before 9 o'clock, about quarter to 9. I'm heading off to the supermarket now because I've run out of my greens. So I need to do this now. And I'm going to actually ride the bike before I've had my shower in the morning because I figure I'm going to get hot and sweaty from the ride anyway. So the shower will be more efficacious when after the ride rather than before it. So see how I hold up. It's going to be more of a challenge to ride the bike down to the supermarket as summer approaches. So we'll see how it all goes. And hopefully it won't be a sweaty mess. We'll just see. But yeah, look, I have no greens at all left. They've all gone off, and I'm just unfortunately my capsicums aren't at the stage that I can actually harvest. So I'll have to get some fresh supplies. Yeah, I'm actually getting off this early, or actually not as early as I could. Actually, the reason I'm getting off just before 9 is because that's the latest starting times for schools in Queensland, so I just want to avoid all that traffic of parents taking their kids to school, because you can get quite a bit of traffic on the roads. Not that I have to navigate the roads that much, it's only really in Kawara itself. Once I get up into the Cook Highway, I've got a dedicated bike track, so it's pretty good overall, the setup. Anyway, I'll get a move on, and hopefully it won't be too hard, because it's been over a week since I've had a ride, so we'll see how I handle the pace. Well, that actually went better than I thought. It wasn't a bad run down here. It's a lot less busy in the mornings, or there was someone actually getting, I think they were either leaving on their bike or just going now. As I got there, so you can see them riding off now. So I guess it's popular for people to ride up here in the morning when it's a little cooler. But it wasn't bad. There's a little bit of a breeze, but it wasn't enough to cause any major headwinds. So it was quite a reasonable run up here. So it's good. I anticipate it's going to be tough, and I guess that's psychologically it was much better than I expected. So it's typical, isn't it? Anyway, it's a beautiful day, and hopefully I'll pick up some decent cheap greens at Coles. They appear to have a few things online, so hopefully the stock is okay there, but you never know these days. Bit of lucky dipping with the broken supply chains we have to deal with. Yeah, well, that was a bit frustrating. I wanted to get 4-leaf greens. There was nothing on the shelves, and the spinach was used by date was 27, so very close to this date. Quite a few people bike riding this time of day. Obviously this is the preferred time for people getting out and about. Makes perfect sense. So maybe there's something to be learned from that. I certainly found it easier ride, so maybe I should do some morning rides. And but yeah, these supply chains are a pain in the ass. So I didn't buy that much at all. Just bought some spinach, and I got some coffee because it was I'm getting low on it. So $15. It's again with supply chains. Who knows when these things are going to be on special again? And some more mineral water just to tide me over. So it's you've got to be pretty conservative with your shopping these days, because the supply chains are so dodgy, so don't take anything for granted. Oh boy. Well, I'm back. Wasn't a bad run back either, but not a productive journey really to Coles, but I may or may not have to go get the bus later in the week anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's one of these flowers that's grown really tall. I put it in the perimeter around the Panama berry, and yeah, it's already... Actually, I think that could well be the same plant that's down in the back. And there's another one there that's about to flower as well. So get a bit of colour here soon. I was told by someone who's got a Panama berry that they can be very sweet. So I don't know. We'll see. Just see how I've been told they taste like caramel, which sounds fantastic. The red berries, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, Yeah, a lot more bike riders down there. It's a busier time of the day for bike riding, I think. And I might change it myself and have my shower after the bike ride. It makes more sense because I feel really refreshed after the shower and quite euphoric, I think. Get those endorphins going big time. Right, it's Tuesday, another beautiful day in Cairns, North Queensland. A little bit of a breeze, but quite pleasant. Most of my plants seem to be doing pretty well, except for this one, which is, I actually put the cow manure layer on top, and it mostly makes it difficult for the seeds to get through. They're the seeds. This is the tropical spinach. So that's growing reasonably okay and should flourish during the hot weather, and that's what I'm hoping for, because I don't know how long my capsicums are going to last, but they're all looking good at the moment, but they might get knocked about by the hot weather. Now what I did yesterday is I finally got off my ass and started to hack about these things. I've got a huge serrated knife that I bought. It was only about $8 or something, I think, and it's sort of a like a cutlass. It's sort of in it's like with the sort of thing you'd use to they'd have in movies to cut through through palm trees and this sort of stuff. So what I've done is I've cut them up into smaller pieces. I put them in the garbage, in 2 garbage bags with some garbage I had, and the garbos seem to be fine collecting it. So if I do this every week, I might be able to start getting through the backlog of palm fronds, which I've got stacks of. Here's another problem I've got here too. Apparently these were supposed to be this rubber tree here, which is supposed to be dead, but as you can see, it's far from dead. It's actually regrowing, because they put poison in there after they'd lopped it. I'm not sure whether I should just leave it and let it grow again, because it's going to take years before it becomes big again. I'd like to get rid of all these roots. I don't know if I can dig them. I'd like to get them dug out of the ground. I'd like to get some landscaping done, but unfortunately Marcus hasn't got back to me, so I don't think he's much hope in that respect. But I might have to get someone else who does earth moving to maybe come down the backyard here, dig it all up, get rid of all the roots and stuff. I've got a tree there, for instance. Look at that tree stump. It's just, I only noticed that the other day, that someone's cut this palm off at the top, but they haven't removed the actual stump. And I've still got a stump down the back there, as you can see. So yeah, it's all pretty slapdash. You could do with some really good landscaping. And I've got plenty of room here to do my master plan, which is to put down tiles on the ground in an attractive pattern with a water feature somewhere around here in the centre of where the grass is. As you can see, the grass gets super dry anyway, so it'll make the whole backyard look a lot better during winter when we don't get that much rain. It's patently obvious if you look around at the moment how dry it is. Yeah, so that's basically the state of play. Now, look at all of them. This is how much crap I've got to get through with the palm fronds. And of course they just keep dropping. Look at the size of that one. I'll have to cut that right up so I can actually put it in garbage bins, and I'll just have to methodically go through this every week, get rid of a couple bags full. I won't be able to put them through the compost bin. There's just not enough space there to get through all this, and I'm still not convinced I can actually break down this stuff. It's very fibrous and takes years to break down. So really the only way I can get it under control is to basically send a couple of bags to the garbos every week, and hopefully I'll work my way through it. But they're just everywhere, and even though thank God I got rid of the big ones in the front, they were real pains in the asses, but I've still got So you've got dead fronds everywhere. No shortage of them, that's for sure. Yeah, it's still attached by the looks of things. But yeah, the other thing too is I wonder if one of my the viewers of my channel, Vivian, is watching, because she seems to be very knowledgeable. She's a human encyclopedia from what I can gather. Whether she can tell me whether this is actually a weed or a flower. Although I think the definition of a weed is a plant you just don't want anyway. So it's very subjective what a weed is, but it is flowering. And I'm not sure whether that is or not. I don't think they're weeds. I think I did put some seeds into the ground here too. But yeah, Vivian might be to come to the rescue here. She seems to know a lot about flora and fauna up this way. So if you've got any comments, Vivian, I'd really appreciate it, because she thinks actually that these plants here are actually they can actually, if you touch them, you can get poisoned. So that's a bit of a worry. But I find it hard to believe that a nursery would sell something like that without giving a warning. But anyway, so that's basically it. And the other thing I'm looking at possibly doing is actually going back to Thailand. The only thing that's stopping me is I'm not keen on having to wear a mask, and they're big on masks over there. So I've been looking up online to see if there's such a thing as a comfortable mask that actually doesn't impede you breathing too much. I mean, you don't have to wear masks all the time. It's just when you're outdoors or whatever, and I mean, I've seen people wandering around doing videos and they take their masks off if there's no one else around. Like on a deserted beach, you can get away with it and things like that. But you do have to be careful though, because they've got very high fines in places like Vietnam if you're found to not be wearing a mask. You know, we're talking, they start off relatively low, but they go pretty high. And I think actually in Thailand, you can get to up to around $1,000 or more fines for a third offence, something like that. So it's not insubstantial. So I would like to just avoid the summer here and go on an overseas trip, because I'm like most Aussies. I'm keen to get out of the country and go to Southeast Asia. But I did try to actually get the certificate for being double jabbed. All the information seems to be on MyGov. That was all fine. But when I tried to actually get the certificate sent out to me, it said the information wasn't correct, even though I was reading it directly from my passport. So I don't know what's going on there. There is an 1800 number to contact people, and I might have to do it manually. Maybe it's just teething problems with the system, because I presume it's been recently set up, I guess. So, of course, that's the other thing. If you travel overseas, you've got to do your PCI test. You've got to do one within 72 hours of actually leaving the country. And then you've got to actually go to a quarantine hotel for one night, and then do a PCI test when you get there. This is if you are double vaxxed. It's even more onerous if you haven't been vaccinated, of course. So that's okay. The good news is that the Jetstar flights are very cheap. I just checked them out today, and they've got a sale on at the moment, and I could get a flight to Phuket, which I don't know if it's. I didn't look at the itinerary. I think it's direct from Sydney, and it's $149 one way, and then it's cheaper coming back. And the connecting flights from Cairns to Sydney aren't too expensive either. They're less than $100. So the actual flights will be pretty cheap, and I've still got a voucher worth over $500 because I had to cancel a previous trip when COVID came out, a trip to Vietnam. So look, I'm not going to be out of pocket much, and my finances are in much better shape than when I first bought the place. I've actually sold a few shares and I'm in a better financial situation. So I'm not worried about the money as such. But I just want to avoid summer here, so we'll see what will happen. I don't know if I better swing this or not, or whether it's worth doing. I don't really want to go to Phuket. I want to actually go to what's it called? Hue Hai or Hoi? I forget what. It's actually down south of Bangkok, but to get a ticket to Bangkok and then maybe get a bus down to this resort town on the beach, Hue Hin, I think it's called Hue Hin. I'll put it up on screen anyway. They've had a few COVID outbreaks recently anyway. It's not a big place, but I've never been there before, so it'd be something different. I'm not a huge fan of Phuket, to be honest with you. And I've been there before, so I'd certainly not really wanting to go there as such. I'd rather go to a new place, but and of course the other thing is I don't think I want to book the trip unless I knew the bars were going to be reopened, and there's no announcement on that yet either. So, but these tickets, this is the 12th of January, so it might be fairly safe to assume that they'll be okay. The other thing, of course, nowadays is if you book tickets, you can rebook without having to pay penalties. You just have to pay the difference of the fare if it's a higher fare. So that's another thing to consider. So it's not quite as bad as it used to be. The other complication is I read an article on news.com.au, which isn't necessarily the most reliable portal for up-to-date news. It's the online version of the Australian and or News Corp, and they were saying that we may have to wait another year or so to travel overseas from Queensland. But I think that's saying they're talking about Qantas, for instance, having direct flights from Queensland, and that doesn't particularly concern me. Going to Brisbane or going to Sydney is neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. It's as far as time is concerned, it doesn't make that much difference, and cost, it doesn't make much difference. And the connections in Sydney are much greater than they are in Brisbane anyway, so that's not an issue for me. I don't really care about that. So I think if I'm double vaxxed, I don't think it's going to have any effect upon my travels. But the way they put it, they make it sound like people living in Queensland can't go overseas. Well, that's not true, because if you're double vaxxed, you can travel interstate and you can get to Sydney and then get an overseas trip. I don't see what the issue is. That doesn't make any sense at all. Unless, of course, Anastasia wants to make us quarantine coming back from Sydney to Queensland. That'd be brilliant if that was the case. But hopefully we're past all that crap. I mean, this is the sort of thing that really puts people off travelling, that lack of certainty. But like I say, hopefully that's all gone. So I never thought I'd actually be in a position so soon to do something like that, but I could go to either to Phuket or Bangkok around the 12th. That'd be quite. Yeah, I can definitely go to Phuket. I'm not sure about Bangkok. I'd have to look that one up. And the last time I looked on the Qantas side, it costs more to go to Bangkok than to go to Phuket, even though I thought the flights were via Bangkok. But who knows? I mean, it's a state of flux. But the point is, at least budget airlines like Jetstar are operating again internationally, and we do have some options. So that's good, really good. There is actually a hotel I want to stay at in Phuket town. It was a really nice hotel. I only spent one night there, and it was the best place I stayed at in the whole trip there last time. So I wouldn't mind doing that. The other option, of course, what I could do with this place is maybe get it rented out to Airbnb, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people would want to even stay in Cairns during summer. It's not the best time. Although the accommodation here is so tight at the moment, maybe they would. And certainly I could get quite a bit of money if I rented the place out for a month. It's not something I'd want to do necessarily, because you are rolling the dice with the people that would be here. But anyway, like I'll work it out one way or the other. But yes, it would be nice to travel, even with the restrictions. I mean, I'd rather be going to Vietnam, but I don't want to go to Vietnam this time of year anyway, because it's in Saigon. It's winter, and the smog's terrible. So in a way, that works out well. Not that I have that option anyway. We won't be able to go to Vietnam until the second quarter of next year, I think, will be the soonest opportunity. They're very tentative with their steps opening up overseas. So yeah, that's basically it. Anyway, just thought I'd give you a bit of an update. Anyway, a lot to think about, and hope things are going well in your part of the world. If you enjoyed this video, please give me thumbs up, thumbs down. Don't hesitate to comment, and please consider subscribing.